Everybody's got love to meet the N-E-T-S. Mets of New York. Of New York.
Hey, welcome everybody. This is CP Cards and Dice, and I'm returning with my 1979 Mets replay. And today we're going to be at Three River Stadium facing the Pittsburgh Pirates. This is a game, I believe it's September. Let's see exactly when this game was played. This game was played September 15th, 1979. Let me go one back just to double check that. And yes, it was September 15th, 1979. It will be Kevin Coble versus Bert Blyleven. Blyleven on the mound for the Pirates, Coble on the mound for the Mets. This game, in actuality, the final score was 5-4 Pittsburgh. It was a day game. And I will tell you, the Mets record at this point was 55-89. Now, in my replay, let's take a quick peek at the record. I'm using a 9.8-inch iPad with iScore, the free iScore app uploaded. Let's go to see what the Mets record is because I don't have it memorized. They are 48-96. So I'm basically 7 games behind the actual Mets record in 1979. 7 games behind. Wow. All right. And this is going to be a tough series. This is a 3-game series against the world champion Pittsburgh Pirates. I believe they were the world champions. We are family in the 1979 Pirates with Stargell and Garner and the Cobra in right field. Dave Parker, I call him the Puma all the time, but Cobra Puma. Many people have corrected me on that. All right, we're going to get started. It's going to be Frankie Taveras leading it off for the Mets, followed by John Stearns, the catcher, batting second. Batting third is Lee Mazzilli. Richie Hebner is in the cleanup spot at third base. Joel Youngblood playing left field. Batting fifth. Batting sixth is old reliable Ed Kranepool. I believe he retires at the end of the season. He's our first baseman. Bruce Beauclair is back. Haven't seen him for a while. He's in right field. Doug Flynn, the second baseman. And it's going to be Kevin Coble on the mound. So that is the Mets offense, and Frankie Taveras is up. Now, the way we play payoff pitch, great little game. Payoff pitch is a great little game. And I will go over some aspects of it very quickly. Here you see on our, it's my right. I don't know where it is on the screen, but on my right, it's Three River Stadium, and that's the ballpark card. You're going to get your range hits and your error hits, and it's going to affect the home runs as well. So this is a very friendly ballpark for left-handed batters, but overall, you're going to see a lot of high-power results in Three River Stadium at this time, based on it's 1-87 for lefties, takes you to wheelhouse, and that's the part of the card where you get your extra base hits and your home runs from primarily. You get extra base hits in other places, but home runs come from the wheelhouse. It's going to be Bert Blyleven on the mound for the Pirates, and every pitch goes off the pitcher card first. Lo and behold, right? Who could have ever imagined that? And then it goes to the batter card after that. So we're going to roll 2 6-sided die for the pitcher card, and that ends up on patient. This is where a batter can get their walks from, but it's not always guaranteed a walk. We'll see what happens. So now we're going to roll the 2 10-sided die, and it's a 17. So that's a pretty low number on a patient on Frankie Taveras versus a righty. You look in this section right here, and that's going to be a base on balls. 1-20 is a base on balls on Frank Taveras, and he's a threat to steal. So he's going to be on first. And I'll show you how to steal real quick. Frank Taveras in the lower left-hand corner has a steal rating of 6, and he's a C base stealer. But if I roll 6 or less, he goes, or he gets a chance to go, I send them that way. And I rolled a 12. Now that's a pickoff opportunity. When you roll a 12 on an attempted lead, you go to a pickoff opportunity, and then there's a chart. There's this little chart right here. It's the pickoff chart. So we look at the hold rating on Blyleven. He's a 9 hold. So that puts him in 0 to 19. We're going to have a wild throw or an out. Anything beyond that is going to be safe. So we're going to roll 2 10-sided die, and we roll a 43, so he's back safely. So nothing happens, and we move on. John Stearns is next. We roll 2 6-sided die. We look at Blyleven. It's patient. I'll put that over. And then it's a 58, a patient 58, and that's going to be some sort of an out. It's going to be a fly ball to shallow right field. The Cobra is out there. And he makes the catch. That's 1 down. Mets are going to need to score. Now it's Lee Mazzilli, the batter. He's a switch hitter batting lefty against Blyleven. That's a 4. That's ballpark. So since that came up ballpark, we have to roll 2 10-sided die. And if it falls within, he's batting lefty, 1 to 87, it's going to be in Lee Mazzilli's wheelhouse. And that's going to give us a good chance for a home run. We roll a 64, so that's within the wheelhouse. So now we're going to roll in right versus right-handed pitchers in Mazzilli's wheelhouse category. So we're rolling 2 6-sided die, see what happens. And that's real high. That's not good. 86. And that's going to be a ground ball to the shortstop. This could turn into a double play. So now this is how you do double plays. Mazzilli doesn't hit into many double plays, so I have to roll a basically less than a 5. A 1 to 4 is going to be a double play, because the double play rating I know on Blyleven is way higher than a 5. That's a pretty low. So a 1 to 4 is a double play. Otherwise, a 2 to 4 is a double play. Otherwise, it's going to be a fielder's choice. And we rolled a 3, so that's a 6-4-3 double play, and that's the end of the inning. So the Pirates turn it, and that retires the side for the Mets. It's going to be Kevin Coble in the bottom of the first. Now, getting just through an inning, and here's Kevin Coble's 1979 card or 1980 card. I'm not sure which it is, but Kevin Coble, that's what he looked like. A little bit of beard, mustache, kind of longish hair, comes out from underneath the cap in the back, sort of like a mullet style almost. That was the times. Those were the times. It's going to be Omar Moreno leading it off in center field. Tim Foley batting second at shortstop. The Cobra in right field batting third. Batting fourth is Bill Robinson. He's the left fielder. Batting fifth is Willie Stargell, the first baseman. The venerable Willie Stargell. He's on the way to a MVP season, a co-MVP season with Keith Hernandez, 1979. Bill Madlock is the third baseman. Batting sixth. Batting seventh is Phil Garner, the second baseman. Steve Nicosia, the catcher, batting eighth. And Bert Blyleven, the pitcher, batting ninth. So Kevin Coble is on the mound. And I only have cards for the Mets. I was thinking of getting a late 70s set, but I have too many. I don't know how I'm going to do that. All right. We're going to roll for Kevin Coble. He's a left-hander versus Moreno, who's a left-hander. That's a 7. That's tough. So that's usually good for the pitcher, but not always. This is a 0-4, a tough 0-4 versus a lefty, and that's strike 3. Moreno chases a fastball in the dirt, and he's out. 1 away. Tim Foley, right-handed batter. That's an 8. Now it's in play. Now this could give us a hit. 63. And that is real high, so that's going to be a fly ball, shallow center field, running in his Mazzilli, and he gets to it. 2 out. So Kevin Coble retires the first 2 Pirates fairly easily. That's a 6. That's in play to the Cobra. That's going to be an in-play 19, and that's going to be a ground ball up the middle and through into center field. Mazzilli gets it in quickly. Parker, a threat to steal, had 20 stolen bases, only 4 times caught. So I'm going to roll 2 6-sided die, see if he goes. And he can get picked off here because I rolled another 12. So he may get picked off. 43. No, he's back safely. So the tag was a little bit late on the Cobra. And it's Bill Robinson. Bill Robinson's a right-handed batter. Bill Robinson versus lefties batted 311, 15 home runs. All right, that's a 6. That's going to be in play. And that's a 0-5, an in play 0-5. And that's going to be a double. And with 2 outs, Parker, if he's more than he's a 7, so he's going to score. So it's 1-0. 1-0 Pirates on the 2-out Bill Robinson double that drives in the Cobra from first base. And now it's Willie Stargell. I knew it was too good. Those 2 quick outs that we got at the beginning were too good to be true. All right, this off the pitcher's card is a tough pitch. And that's going to be a 46. A tough 46 is strike 3. Willie Stargell swings and misses. And that's all she wrote. But the Pirates do pick up a run, and the Mets are already down here in the first inning by a score of 1-0. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. That's a 9. That's a patient. A patient 32 against a righty is a base on ball. So Richie Hebner walks. He's on at first. Next is Joel Youngblood. And that's an 8. That's a patient. A patient 58. Oh, just missed a hit by pitch. Patient 58 is a fly ball to shallow right. Cobra in a few steps makes the catch. Now it's Ed Kranepool, left-handed batter. That's an 8. Again, it's patient. A patient 28, and that's ball 4. So Kranepool walks. So now the Mets have 2 runners on. Hebner's at second. Kranepool's at first. 1 out, and it's Bruce Beauclair. Bruce Beauclair versus righties batted 184. I'm using actual lineups, so that's why these guys are in here. And that's a 6. That's going to be tough. 82, a tough 82. And that's going to take us to a fly out. Oh, that's a pop-up, actually. And he's a lefty. It's going to be a pop-up to the second baseman. These are modifications that I use for pop-ups. And Doug Flynn. Doug Flynn runs first and second, 2 out, top of the second. We roll to see pitcher tough on the pitcher card, a 60, tough 66, and that's going to be a ground ball to second baseman. Flips to Foley, Garner to Foley, and that retires the side. The Mets leave 2, score none, and at the end of 1.5, it's 1-0 Pirates. Now we want to get through this next inning without allowing any runs. Kevin Coble on the mound for the Mets. He's going to face Madlock, Garner, and Nicosia. That's an 11. That's defense. So we're going to pull a card here. I pull a card on a defense. It's going to tell me it's an error on the second baseman, Flynn. So then I'm going to check Flynn very quickly. I'm going to check Flynn. It's an error on Flynn. His error rating is a 4. So he's a pretty good defender. 1 to 26 will be an error. Let's see what I rolled. I rolled an 11. So it is going to be an error on Flynn. Now we're going to pull another card and see what kind of an error it is. And let me push this aside because it seems that some of the – there we go. No reason for that to happen like that. There we go. Okay, so it tells me right here what type of – to the infield, it's a 1-base error. So it's an E4. Flynn boots it, rolls away from him, throws to first, not in time. E4 on Flynn. So Madlock is on. Madlock had 21 stolen bases, so we're going to see if we can get him a lead. We're going to roll here. His lead rate is 5 or less. We rolled a 7, so he does not go. So it's going to be Phil Garner. That's an 11. That's defense again. We're going to pull a card and see what kind of defense it's going to be. It's going to be error third base on Hebner this time. And we're going to look at Hebner. Hebner's E rating is a 2, so he's not very good at all. 1 to 51 is going to be an error, and we roll an 11, the same 11, back-to-back 11s. See what kind of an error that's going to be. And that is going to be Error third base, one base error on the third baseman. So back-to-back errors for the Mets. Puts runners on first and second. Now it's the catcher who's not going to bunt simply because I got the pitcher up next. All right, that's the roll for the pitcher card. It's in play. In play 78. In play 78 is a fly ball center field, hit on the nose. Mazzilli back a couple of steps and throws it in quickly. There's no tag ups on that. And then Bert Blyleven's going to bunt. Let's look at Blyleven's bunt. If you look at Blyleven's pitching card, up here it says B. That's his bunt rating. This is he bats righty, and that's his bunt rating right there. So when we pull a card, first of all, we got to see if he does bunt. And I believe that's a 5 bunt rating. So 5 or less, he bunts. Otherwise, it's fouled off, I guess. So wait, that's the wrong. I rolled the wrong one. So I got to roll 5 or less. Otherwise, he does not bunt. Yeah, he does not bunt successfully. So I believe there's 2 strikes now. So I can try it again. And that's strike 3. So he strikes out. Fails to lay down the bunt. That's 2 outs. And Omar Moreno. All right, and Kevin Coble, it's a 9. That's going to be in play. In play 41 versus a lefty. It's going to be outside of hit range. That's going to be a comebacker. Coble snatches it and fires to first and beats Moreno for out number 3. 1-3. And next is going to be Coble leading it off for the Mets against Bert Blyleven. All right, it's a 5 off Blyleven's card. I like to put the pitcher there because you read him first, and I read from left to right. 5 is in play. Oh, how you doing there? Watching you, Wills rolling the 2016 ALWC World Series against the Strat Advance in top of the 7th. Orioles lead the Blue Jays 14-4. Holy smokes! Not a good pitching day for Stroman or Cecil. Good man, good man. Kevin Coble's up. Kevin Coble's up. Oh, I need his pitcher batting card. That's the problem. All right. I need a 9 pitcher hitting card. And here's one. All right. So that's Kevin Coble. It's going to be 8, which is a patient 57. A patient 57 on a 9. And that's going to be an out-range fly ball to right. And right there is the Cobra. 1 away. Bert Blyleven, 9 again. Patient to Frankie Taveras. That's going to be an 07. A patient 07's ball 4. So that's the second time Taveras has walked. And he's a threat to steal. We're going to roll 2 dice, see if he gets. Nope, not with a 10. Not going to go with a 10. Here's John Stearns. And that's a 7. That's tough. And a tough 95 off Stearns. That's a fly ball to left. Pounding the glove is Robinson. Makes the catch. That's 2 away. Now we're going to roll all 4 dice, throw them all at once. That's a 9. Patient again, a patient 66. And that's going to be a ground ball up the middle and through. And with that, Frankie Taveras is going to hustle over to third. First and third, so Mazzilli gets his first hit of the day. Mazzilli's batting well over 300. Last I looked, he was batting 328 with the Mets. He actually batted like 303 or 304, something like that. So he's doing a little bit better, a few points better, 20 points better than what he did in actuality. Some players do a little bit better. Some players do a little bit worse. That's the nature of the beast of all these simulations. I don't think there's one simulation that you can say, they're all based on averages, So the more complicated, the more finite and detailed you can get, and more precise you can get, I believe. But then you lose playability. Then you can compare the strat basic to strat super advanced, where you got to start keeping track of a lot of different elements, a lot of different symbols, and so forth and so on. And then you have these two ginormous error pages back and front with range, and then with error ratings, and then with the actual effects of different things that can happen, and they're ginormous. So that you always kind of sacrifice playability when you want to really, really, really fine tune the results. But I think even with that, there's only so much fine tuning you can do, and it's really about rolling the dice ultimately. All right, so it's Richie Hebner with 2 outs. The Mets are down 1-0 here in the top of the third. It's Bert Blyleven is on the mound. He's facing Richie Hebner. Richie Hebner is an ex-Pirate. He's with the Mets right now, but not for long. He's the highest paid player on the Mets at $200,000, but he did not like New York very much, and I don't know how much New York liked him, particularly when they know you don't like New York. All right, so that's a wheelhouse off Blyleven's card, a wheelhouse 57, and that's going to be outside his range. That's too bad, because that could have been a 3-run shot, and we needed that. That's a fly ball deep left field. Back goes Robinson to the track, makes the catch, and that retires the side. So Hebner gave it a ride, but it was caught. And now it's Coble. Here's his baseball card. I guess this is a Topps card. I don't know. Where does it say it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's the Topps card in really tiny letters. All right, he's going to be facing Tim Foley. Take a sip of my coffee. It's the bottom of the third, 1-0 Pirates. Now, Kevin Coble is no slouch. He was 6-8 with a 3.51 ERA in 27 starts. So he held his own. I believe he had a lot of no decisions. Kevin Coble, we'll put his baseball card right there. Get rid of the rubber band. We don't need that. Tim Foley started the season off with the Mets. He had like 7 at-bats with the Mets, and then he was traded for Frankie Taveras. They switched shortstops. Tim Foley went to have a pretty good season. He ended up batting, I think, about 287 with the Pirates, whereas Frankie Taveras batted, I think, 267 with many more stolen bases. I guess the Mets traded speed for defense, because Tim Foley is a pretty decent defender. He's a 4 error rating, which that's a pretty good error rating. Not great range, but pretty good. He minimized the flubs. All right. Kevin Coble pitches a left-hander, pitching to a right-hander. That's a 5. That's ballpark. Then we rolled a 16, which puts it into the wheelhouse, into Tim Foley's wheelhouse. He has no opportunity for a home run, but he can hit. He's going to get a hit all the way up to 31, but this is an 81. So that's going to be a grounder up the middle, and Taveras grabs it, fires to first, and gets Foley for out number 1. Gonna push this now. It's good. All right, Kevin Coble versus lefty. Parker. Parker is 1 for 1. He's singled. That's a 3. That's tough. And then a 25. A tough 25 is going to be a ball that's driven into the corner. That's 1 hop off the wall, and Beauclair after it in right, and Parker in at second base. The throw not in time. So a 1-out double for Dave Parker. Parker wasted no time. Took that first pitch and golfed it into the right field corner. Next is Bill Robinson. That's a 9. That's in play a 12. And in play 12 is going to be a single, and we're going to look at a card to see what happens. Runner on second base advances 1 base. All right, so Parker's going to stop at first and third. And it's Willie Stargell. Now, hopefully Coble can get out of this without destroying the game. I mean, if he starts giving up lots of runs here and the Mets fall behind, they don't have the offense to come back, and the game's pretty much over. So it's been pretty much a struggle to get past this last month. I've been playing this last month for I think I played the first 5 months in in 2 months, and then it's taken me 2 months to get past the last 10 games in September, or the first 10 games of September. All right, it's not in play again, and this time it's a 94. An in play 94 is going to be a fly ball to shallow right, but it's not going to be deep enough. For that, I needed a patient or a wheelhouse to get him in for sure. So that's going to be a shallow right field, and nobody's going to advance on this. So that's out number 2. Everybody holds up. And now now I could pull to see if it's a deep, but I think that would be the rule that I'm using is if it's a patient or a wheelhouse, then I can try to a wheelhouse. He scores automatically. Patient, he has the opportunity to try to score. All right, so it's Bill Madlock, first and third. Two outs. Pitch from Coble, that's 11. That's defense. We're going to pull a card. Error, third base again. Hebner, not a very good fielding third baseman, so that's going to, I believe it's 1-51. I believe he's a 4 over there. Hebner, no, he's a 2, excuse me. 4 is good, 2 is bad. So he's a 2, and in the error section, it's 1-51. It's going to be an error, and that's going to score a run for sure. Let's see what happens. And that's a 29. That's going to be an E5 of some kind. And it's a one-base error, so ground ball to Hebner. Oh, off the heel of his glove, and that's going to score the Cobra. It's going to be an E5. And I believe that's the third Met error of this ballgame. I got to check that out up on the scoreboard, and it is. That's the third Met error, and that's the second one by Hebner. So it's 2-0. Phil Garner. So the 2 6-sided die are a 6. That's in play, and then it's an 83, an in play section 83, and that's going to be a ground ball to the shortstop, Taveras, who steps on the bag, and that retires the side, but not before the Pirates pick up another run on the error, and they lead it 2-0. We go to the top of the fourth. Bert Blyleven is on the mound for the Pirates. It's a 1979 Mets replay. They lost 99 games. I believe I'm 4 games away from losing 100. All right, it's a 4. It's ballpark, and then we rolled an 87. Youngblood's a righty. It goes up to 83. So we're gonna have to go off his in play section. So if it doesn't meet the requirements of the ballpark wheelhouse roll in Three Rivers Stadium, it automatically goes to in play versus a righty. So we're going to roll here, in play versus a righty, and that's going to be a 68. That's way out of hit range, and that's a grounder, a weak grounder to Garner. He has to get it quickly and throw it, and that's out number 1. So Garner saw it was kind of a dribbler off the bat. He had to charge it. Like I failed to charge this this die that just flew around. Some guy had a fit because people call one die dice. Ed Kranepool. 11, that's defense. So we're going to pull a card and see what it is, what it tells us. Error shortstop. Tim Foley. Let's see what Foley. Now, we were talking about Foley. Foley is a 4, and a 4 is pretty good. 1-26 will be an error on Foley, and Foley feels it cleanly, fires to first, and that's out number 2. Again, we were talking about how Foley's a pretty good fielder. Doesn't make many errors. Doesn't have super range. He has acceptable range. Doesn't have super range. Bruce Beauclair, that's a 10. In play, 51. So, in play 51, and that's an out. That's a grounder to third. Bill Madlock fires to first and gets Beauclair. That retires the side. The Mets can't get anything going. They only have 1 hit so far. Kevin Coble on the mound. 2-0 Pirates in the bottom of the 4th. See if we can get through a quick inning here. An 8, that's in play 16. That's going to be a hit. And it is. Line drive, base hit left field. And that's Youngblood plays it in on a hop. Next is the pitcher. We're going to get a bunt out of Blyleven. He's a B. We're going to roll 2 dice. Oh, 6. He does not. He fails to bunt. If we do it again, and he does, he strikes out. Not a very good bunter. Actually, I may be able to do it 3 times. I have to look at that rule. I can't remember the rule. I don't know if it's in the rule book. Let me see. Wait. Sacrifice bunt. It doesn't give me the. There's wait a second. There's more than one bunt rule. So it depends which one you're using. I just switched to this one because I kind of like it a little bit more. Because all bunts are not automatic. Sometimes the guy has to manage the bunt, and I have to look that up. That's probably in the rule book. I don't have it here. I don't know where my rule book is. So anyway, I'm just going to do it off the top of my head. So that's a strikeout for Blyleven. Fails to bunt, and Steve Nicosia is on at first. There's 1 out. It's Omar Moreno against Kevin Coble. That's a 10. That's patient. A patient 13. Again, a low number. Ball 4. That's a lot of low numbers. I'm rolling a lot of low numbers for the Pirates and a lot of high numbers for the Mets. All right, Tim Foley. A 9 in play. Again, a 0-6. A 0-6 is going to be a single, and it's going to tell us with runners a single, runner on second advances, question mark. So I can try to score Nicosia. Nicosia is a catcher. So I don't know that I'm going to try to score him, but he's scored enough runs to have a decent rating. He's not a fast player, but I could try to score him. So let's see what it tells us. Single to the center field gap. So that's going to be Mazzilli's arm. Mazzilli cuts it off, and they're going to wave Nicosia home. Mazzilli's a 6. So if I roll anything less than a 7, I'm good. Something good will happen. Potentially good will happen. So I got to roll anything less than a 7. Let's see what happens here. So Mazzilli's a 7. Mazzilli's a 6 arm, and Nicosia's a 7 arm. So if I roll a 7 or less, or rather a 6 or less, he'll score. If I roll it between a 7 and a 6, then I have to roll on another chart. And I roll a 9, so he is out at the plate. So a nice cutoff by Flynn, and throws it right on the mark. So that's going to be a single. A single. He is thrown out at home, tagged out. It's going to be 8-4. Who got the hit? He's a righty, so I'm going to make it the cutoff is going to be the. So let's do that again. Oh, wait, let's do that again. It's a single, and the throw home to Nicosia gets him, and he's out at the plate, tagged out. So it's going to be 8-6 Taveras with the relay. 8-6-2. And then I'm going to send my Moreno, who's very fast, and go to third. And Foley, odds he stays at first, evens he moves to second, and he hustles and takes second base with the throw home. And it's going to be second and third now. Second and third for the Cobra. Dave Parker batted versus lefties, batted 300. How did Bill Robinson bat at 311? These guys are killers. I mean, they won the World Series. So, all right. All right, Kevin Coble with second and third, 2 outs. It's 2-0. Pirates. We're in the bottom of the 4th. Cobra, 9. That's in play. A 96. I think we got out of this inning, folks. And we did. Fly ball, right field. Beauclair, he's under it, makes the catch. That retires the side. So, wow, okay, that was exciting. We had a play at the plate. So you see how you can get those plays at the plate with payoff pitch. Oh, that's it. It's not him. All right. Bert Blyleven is going to face Doug Flynn, Kevin Coble, and Frankie Taveras here in the top of the 5th. Let's roll all the dice. The 2 6-sided dice is a 9. That's going to be patient. A patient 84 is a ground ball to the shortstop. Foley, he's up with it. Throws it low, but it's scooped by Stargell for out number 1. Blyleven the pitch. It's a 3. That's tough. A tough 0-6, and that's strike 3 to the pitcher. I'm going to let Coble bat there. Still a close game. Coble's fatigue rating is 7. So he can go into the 7th. So he's got a couple of more innings he can go. That's a 7. That's tough. A tough 47 on Frankie Taveras' card. A tough 47 is a nubber, and Matlock comes in, throws the first, and not in time. Frank Tavares beats it out for an infield hit. He's showing his speed. And Frankie Tavares, always a threat to steal. We're going to see what happens. We roll an 8, so he does not go here. Does not get the lead. And it's John Stearns. That's a 5. That's in play 69. In play 69, and that's going to be a ground ball to second base. Phil Gardner flips to Foley, and that retires the side. Let's leave one, score none, and at the end of 4.5, it's 2-0 Pirates. Kevin Coble versus Bill Robinson. Coble's a lefty. That's snake eyes. That's a wheelhouse. A wheelhouse 66 against a lefty is going to be a line drive base hit to left. So Robinson is on at first. Next is Willie Stargell. And that is a 5. That's ballpark, and we rolled a 28. And that's going to be 1-87. So it's well within that. So now we're going to roll on Willie Stargell. Is 1-54 is a home run, and that's a deep drive to right field. Back goes Beauclair to the track, to the wall. It's out of here. Willie Stargell, 2-run shot. Now the Pirates are up 4-0. And it's Bill Madlock. There's some action in the Mets bullpen. And that's going to be a 4. That's Patient, and Patient 27. Patient 27 is a blooper, and that drops in front of Youngblood, excuse me, and that's a single. Bill Matlock's on with a single. And we're going to look real quickly to see rule books are for losers, and charts are for losers as well. Lots of charts, not so cool. Minimal charts, very cool. That's my proclamation, if you will. All right, I'm looking to see who the Mets. Roy Lee Jackson comes in. So we're going to bring in Roy Lee Jackson. That's enough for Kevin Coble. Roy Lee Jackson. Offensive sub, yes. So he's a long reliever, so he can go 3. All right, so nobody out. Phil Garner against Roy Lee Jackson. And that's a 4. That's Patient. A Patient 64 against a righty this time. And that's going to be a ground ball to second base. We're going to try to roll for a double play here. He's a 5, so we got to roll 5 or less. And it's a 7, so we don't manage that. It's going to be a fielder's choice. So it's a fielder's choice 4-6. 1 out. And Steve Nicosia, the batter. Pitch from Roy Lee Jackson. Roy Lee Jackson was 1-0 with a 2.20 ERA in 16 innings in 1979. That's an 11. That's tough. A tough 16. That's a strike 3. Nicosia strikes out. And it's pitcher, Blyleven. Blyleven's a 5. That's a 4. That's Patient 62. Patient 62, and that's going to be off the outs, and that's going to be a grounder to second. Flynn flips to Tavares, and that retires the side. So Roy Lee Jackson comes in and retires 3 in a row. That's a positive for the Mets. Bert Blyleven, he can go 7. So once he hits 7, then he gets fatigued, but that's only if he gives up more than 3 runs. He's got a shutout right now. So he's pitching pretty well. All right, Lima Zilli, he's 1 for 2. He's grounded out and singled. And we just rolled a 9. Patient 10. That's going to be a hit against a righty. It's going to be a line drive center field. Omar Moreno plays it in on a hop, and Mazzilli's on at first. They're down 4-0. So we're going to play it safe at this point. And it's Richie Hebner. Richie Hebner with a 9. That's Patient 26. Patient 26 is ball 4. So first 2 batters reach. Joel Youngblood. Pitch from Blyleven. That's a wheelhouse 46. and that's going to be a single. And let's see what happens with the runner at second. Single, runner on second scores, runner others advance 2 bases. So that's a single RBI for Joel Youngblood, 4-1. The Mets are on the board. And runners on first and third, nobody out. There's some action in the Pirate bullpen. Eddie Kranepool. And that's a 7. That's tough. A tough 44. Tough 44, and that's a base hit for Kranepool to right field. Cobra cuts it off quickly. Runner on second. Runners on first advances 2 bases. All right, so first and third, RBI single. It's 4-2 now. So the Mets got their bats going now, finally. And it's Bruce Beauclair. Manager's going to go talk out, or the pitching coach is going to talk to Blyleven. Don't know who that was. Bruce Beauclair, the batter. Beauclair's 0 for 2. He's flat out and grounded out. Here's the pitch to Beauclair. That's a 6. That's tough. A tough 60. Tough 60, strike 3. So Beauclair strikes out for out number 1. Next is Doug Flynn. And that's a 6. That's tough. A tough 99. Tough 99 is a pop-up. And that's the third baseman, Madlock, calling for it. Makes the catch. So that's 2 away. And now we're going to get a pinch hitter. Let's see who the pinch hitters were back in 1979. Ron Hodges is one of the pinch hitters. Ron Hodges. He's been with the team a long time. Back then, back in these eras, in the 70s, you would have team players spend 10, 15 years. There weren't those 3-year contracts, 5-year contracts, 7-year contract things. And then you get rid of them in the 5th year of a 7-year contract so you can get something for him. Otherwise, you're just going to lose him. He's going to be too expensive for you. So it's going to be Ron Hodges is going to bat now. Let's see. Let me get him. Let me find him. No, he's not going to be a sub. He's going to pinch hit. So Ron Hodges, left-handed batter, versus Blyleven, 2 outs. That's going to be a 7. That's tough. A tough 98. And that's going to be a fly ball to right. Cobra running in, makes the catch, and that retires the side. So Mets made it exciting there for a while. And who else? Next, Ed Glynn is going to come in. Ed Glynn is going to pitch for the Mets. All right, so let's write in Ed Glynn. I'll tell you, Ed Glynn had a 3 ERA. He was a 1-4 record in 60 innings pitched. Had 7 saves. All right, so it's going to be Omar Moreno. Omar Moreno is going to hit. He's 0 for 2. He struck out, ground out, and walked. Oh. That's an 11. That's defense. We're going to pull a card. That's a range left field. Range left field. Youngblood in left field. What kind of range does he have? His range in left field is an A range, which means that 1 to 26 is going to be a ball that drops in front of. So 1 to 26. I got to roll 2 6-sided die, and that's a 44. So that's a ball that Youngblood gets a good jump on and catches. Oh, back. Out. Pop out. Left field. 1 out. Tim Foley, 1 for 3, singled. That's a 9. That's patient. That's a 13. A patient 13 versus a lefty is going to be a base on balls. So Foley's on. Next is the Cobra. That's going to be an 8. That's patient. A patient 37. And that's going to be a ground ball up the middle and through into center field. Foley is going to stop at second, according to the card. The card tells you how they advance. And then, of course, their speed plays a role later on with 2 outs and so forth. And on other factors, if it gives you a question mark, then you look at the speed. Bill Robinson. Bill Robinson's 3 for 3. He's doubled and singled twice. Here's a pitch from Glenn. That's a 9. Patient again, 40. A patient 40. And that's going to be a base hit to left. And runner on second will score. And to third goes Parker. He scores. To third goes Parker. So we got one out, first and third. Willie Stargell against Ed Glynn. Hasn't really done much since he's come into the game. Here's the pitch to Willie Stargell. That's a 5. That's in play an 81. An in play 81. See if we can get lucky here, get a double play. Nope, it's a fly ball. Center field, shallow center. Nobody's going to score on this. Now I could look at a card and say, is it a deep fly? You see right here what kind of that's a deep fly. So then I could say, yes, he can try to score. So I could do that. I don't do that. I'm just using the patient and the wheelhouse to kind of dictate when they score, when the ball is deep enough to come in. So there's multiple ways you can do this. So let's say I wanted to score him. How many outs? There's 2 outs now. The Cobra's got pretty good speed. He's a 7. The ball was hit to who was the ball hit to? Let me see. It was an 81. It was to center field. Mazzilli, I think it was a 6 arm. So we can try to score him. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. So let's see what happens. And he's out at the plate. So Mazzilli throws out his second base runner trying to score. So this is going to be an 8-2. So it's going to be a 2 outs. And then let me go back. Let me fly out. Let me fly out to center. And then it's going to say what happens to the runner at third. Tries to score and he's out, tagged out, 8-2. Great throw by Mazzilli. All right. So it's the top of the 7th. And it's Blyleven still in there. He had a tough 6th inning. This is his fatigue inning. This is Blyleven's fatigue inning, which means we're going to pull a fatigue card, which is not the end of the world. I mean, you can still, we'll let him go 1 inning in fatigue because he's due next in the bottom of the 7th to bat. So let's see, his numbers were 360, 0 to 399, and 0 to 6.5. So fatigue pitcher 4. Oh, let's see, fatigue pitcher. I'm trying to line his stats, 0 to 4. Yeah, this is it. Okay, this is his fatigue card, which doesn't mean he's going to give up any hits. I mean, it just means that his card changes. He's not as effective as he would normally be. I mean, I have a 5-2 lead, so let's see what goes on here. Frank Taveras. If he gets in trouble, I got guys warming up. 8. See, that's a patient 78. Patient 78 is an out, and that's going to be a fly to center, shallow center. Moreno makes the catch. And Stearns now 8 again. Patient 56. And that's going to be an out of some kind. That's a fly ball into the gap, and that's Cobra running it down, makes the catch. F9. 2 outs. And Lee Mazzilli, who's 2 for 3. And that's an 8 again. Patient 8 3 times in a row, but this time is patient 85. And this is going to be a ground ball hit to Foley in the hole. Up with it, fires to first, and just gets Mazzilli by half a step. 6-3. Great play by Tim Foley. Ex-Met. 3 up, 3 down. So now it's going to be Ed Glynn still in there. He's going to face Bill Madlock. That's an 8. You read the 2 6-sided die first, and then it's an 8-16. So it's patient 16 versus a lefty. That's base on balls. Next is Phil Garner. That's a 5. In play 85. And in play 85 is going to be a ground ball to the shortstop. Now this could be a double play. That's a 5. So I got to roll less than a 5, and I do. A 5 or less, I believe, is a double play. So that was what ground ball 60 to second baseman. So it's 4-6-3 double play. Actually, I think it's a fielder's choice. Let me back up. I believe because it's the same number, so it's a fielder's choice. I believe that's the rule. It's a 4-6 fielder's choice. 1 out. And that was Madlock was forced at second. Now it's Steve Nicosia with Garner at first, and one out here in the bottom of the seventh. It's 5-2 Pirates. That's a 5 in play. In play 41 against a lefty, and that's going to be an out. Popped up to the left side. Shortstop Taveras calling for it. Makes the catch. That's out number 2. Out number 2. So the Orioles won the game 15-8 is what you're saying. All right, Bert Blyleven. Now we're going to get a pinch hitter. Let's see who pinch hit in this game. Real quick, for the Pirates, it was Lee Lacy. We're bringing in Lee Lacy. I'm not sure if Lee Lacy was a right-handed batter or a left-handed batter. Looking at the wrong team. So Lacy's a righty. Going to pinch hit for Blyleven. So Blyleven's out. Lee Lacy's in. Defensive sub, no. And we still have Ed Glynn in there. Here he goes, 2 outs. Bill Garner takes his lead off first. That's a 7. That's tough. A tough 57, 53. Tough 53 versus a lefty. Strike 3. So Lee Lacy strikes out, and that retires the side. Richie Hebner's leading it off. We're going to have a new pitcher. Couldn't find Hebner. All right, we're going to get a new pitcher for it's going to be Dave Roberts. You get every card when you buy Payoff Pitch. For a little extra, you get additional guys that 20 at-bats or less. Dave Roberts. He had a 3.26 ERA and 38 innings pitched. The left-hander. So Dave Roberts is in. Let's see if I can if I have Dave Roberts written in here. I'm gonna have to write him in. I may have to write him in. I don't see him. So add sub. Dave Roberts, lefty, is in there. All right, he's going to face Richie Hebner. Here's the pitch from Dave Roberts. And that's a 6. That's in play 45 versus a lefty. That's an easy out to the third baseman, Madlock. Nice easy hop. 1 away. Next batter is Joel Youngblood. And it's an 8. An 8 is in play, 71. Again, a terrible high number for the Mets. Ground ball. Oh, that's popped up this to the shortstop. And that is out number 2. And then it's Ed Kranepool. And that's a 6 in play, 31. And in play 31 is a pop-up to the left side in foul territory. Madlock is there, makes the catch, and that retires the side. We go to the bottom of the 8th. It's 5-2 Pirates. We are family. Three River Stadium, 1979. Where were you in 1979? Ed Glynn. Get a new pitcher for the Mets. And it's going to be, oh, no. Let's see who's the next day's pitcher, because we ran out of pitchers there. Next day's pitcher is going to be Neil Allen. I'm going to bring in Neil Allen. Why not? He's pitching every game, seems. All right, Neil Allen's going to come in for an inning. See if you can get that 1, 2, 3 inning for Neil Allen. He's going to face Omar Moreno, the lefty, leading it off. So 4. That's patient. A patient 90. Patient 90 versus a righty. And that's going to be a ground to second, Doug Flynn. Short hops it. Flips to Kranepool. 1 away. Next is Tim Foley. That's a 5. That's in play, 0-6. And Foley's 1 for 3, and he's going to have his second hit. An in play 0-6 is going to be a ball that gets by Beauclair, and it's cut off. And Foley's going to hustle into second base with a 1-out double. So at first it looked like it was a single, and then all of a sudden got by Beauclair, who was trying to cut it off. It took a funny angle, and it's Dave Parker, and it's a 7. That's tough. A 0-2, a tough 0-2. Strike 3. Parker strikes out for out number 2. Big strikeout by Neil Allen. Neil Allen had a 3.55 ERA, 6-10, 99 innings pitched, had 8 saves. That's going to be a 4. That's a patient 14 against a righty, and that is going to be a ball that's driven it over the center fielder's head. Mazzilli after it, and that's going to score Foley from second. That's going to be a double, a 2-out RBI double for Bill Robinson. That's, I believe, his 4th hit of the game. Let me check that out again. No, that's his 4th hit of the game. Oh no, that's his 5th hit of the game. Excuse me. That's his 5th hit of the game. He's 5 for 5. Holy smokes. Bill Robinson went 5 for 5. All right. Has 2 doubles and 3 singles. Willie Stargell is next. 6-2. Pirates. That's patient 97. And that's going to be an out range for sure. And it's going to be a fly, deep fly to right field. Back goes Beauclair, but has it in his sights. And that retires the side. So it's 6-2 going into the 9th inning. Mets are going to have Beauclair, Flynn, and then a pinch hitter against Dave Roberts. Here's the pitch from Dave Roberts. School in Blackpool, 79. Yeah, I was at William Cullen Bryant High School in 1979. And that's Queens, New York. That movie actually came out in The Bronx Tale with Robert De Niro. I don't know if you've ever seen that. The high school that they use in the neighborhood is my neighborhood in Queens, New York. So if you ever see The Bronx Tale and you see the high school, you'll see that that was my high school, by the way. All right, so it's Bruce Beauclair, Dave Roberts, nobody on, top of the 9th. Mets are down by 4 runs, 6-2. Again, another loss, another potential loss for the Mets. Let's see. Let's roll here for Bruce Beauclair. Dave Roberts, 7 in play, 30. And an in play 30 is against a lefty. This is an out, and that's popped up to the right side. Willie Stargell under it makes the catch, 1 away. Mets are two outs away from another loss. That's a 7. That's in play. 0-7. In play 0-7. In play 0-7. And that's going to be a line drive base hit to left. It's a long time since Flynn has had a hit. Holy smokes. And now we got a pinch hitter. Who pinch hit for the Mets? Who else pinch hit for the Mets? A couple of guys pinch hit for the Mets. Let's see. It was Trevino, Alex Trevino. Gonna bring him in, pinch hit. We also have Elliot Maddox, but use Trevino. All right, Alex Trevino's come in to hit. And there's a 1 out, runner on first. Here's the pitch to Trevino. That's going to be 6. In play 27. In play 27. Oh, yes. And it's through the hole. Tim Foley, right underneath Tim Foley's glove into left field. That's a base hit. And see what happens with the runner on first. Runner advances 2 bases. So the cards kind of tell you that. Simplifies. You don't have to look at charts. This is pretty much a chartless game. So first and third, 6-2 Pirates, 1 out, top of the 9th. And it's Frankie Tavares' action in the bullpen now. And that's a 5. That's tough. A tough 56. A tough 56. Oh, just missed being something valuable there. And that's a fly ball to right. And what do we say was a 5? That's a tough, yeah. And that's a shallow right. And that's we're not going to test Parker's arm here. He does have a crazy good arm. So there's 2 outs, and it's John Stearns. That's a 4. That's tough. A tough 86, and this is going to be the ball game. can almost guarantee that, and it is. Ground ball, shortstop. He flips. Tim Foley flips to Garner, and that is the ball game. 6-4. Mets lose another one by a score of 6-2. And the win in this game is going to be Blyleven. Blyleven's get the win, and the loss is going to go to Kevin Coble. And I can tell you Kevin Coble's record very quickly. I will email myself this box score. The reason I'm going to email it is because Bill Robinson, I believe, had 5 hits. So I wanna post this to one of the forums. Just an anomaly. I don't like to post games that when the Mets lose. Makes me look bad. Team manager. Let's look and see Coble's record. Team stats. The Mets are 48-97. Holy smokes! I'm 3 games away from losing 100. All right, let's see now. Coble has a 4.37 ERA, and he's 6-11. In reality, he was 6-8. So his ERA is a little bit higher than in reality. He had a 3.50 ERA. In reality, he has a 4.37 ERA. But I also don't know how well I played. I mean, I may have left him in longer than I should have, and so forth and so on. So sometimes those factors, and that's it. So let me give you the rundown of this game. Mets lose it by a score of 6-2 to the Pirates. It's game 1 of a 3-game series. I will play the other 2 games, but probably I will not stream those. It was Mets 2 runs, 7 hits, 3 errors, 9 left on base. Mets defense did not show up. Pirates had 6 runs, 13 hits, no errors, and 11 left on base. And I'll tell you, the Pirates have a tremendous hitting club. They're not easy to silence. They have a very, very hot. All their batters are like 300 batters, so it's really tough to face the Pirates. When the Mets face the Pirates, I always feel like, oh, we're doomed. So we still have 2 more games. Let's see if we can avoid losing 100. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm at 97 losses at this point. We're in September. We're in halfway through September, so we got 2 more weeks of the season to go. So basically about 10 games approximately. I mean, I can look and be more specific about our record so we know how many games we still have to play. I don't want to lose 100. I mean, I will, hide my face in shame if I do lose 100. We are at 48-97. So what is that, 145 games? So what do we have, 17 more games? Is that possible? I don't know if can we have that many games? I guess so. So we play every day for about 16 games, and maybe there's a doubleheader in there. 16 days left, I guess, in the month, because this game was played on September 15th. So I guess you still have 15 more days, and I don't know if they play into October. A day or 2. So anyway, that's the story. This is CP Cards and Dice. I'm going to say goodbye to all. I hope you enjoyed this presentation of Payoff Pitch Baseball. It's one of my favorite systems. I don't know if you noticed, but I looked at the chart twice because of pickoff attempts to see if he was picked off, and then once because I was looking for an alt bunting rule. So this is a chartless game. The cards are necessary to keep it chartless because you get a lot of information off the cards, but they're right there, and it tells you like base advancement, tells you the hits, the errors, the outs, when it's a range factor, when it's an error factor, or when it's just a general out and you want to know if it's a short fly or a deep fly or different things, or if it tells you it's an out on range or an out on a hit, on an error, then it tells you what type of an out it is. Fielder's choice, short fly, put out. So there's a lot of ways of using. Then it gives you the sacrifice bunts, and then it gives you the steals, and that you also use that in conjunction with the cards. So you need the fast action cards to play this chartless, but it's very, very smooth game. It's a lovely, lovely game, and that's all I got to say. Payoff pitch. I did a short at the beginning. I did a short kind of tutorial on the basics. And after that, I mean, I kind of played it the way you would play it. There's not much more to do with this set. And that's it. So this is CP Cards and Dice saying thanks for stopping by, guys. I hope you enjoyed the presentation of 1979 Mets, and I will finish the 1979 Mets, and then I will begin to share some of the stats. The stats are very close. Also, I didn't always play it exactly the way I should have, perhaps. Maybe there's a couple of batting averages that are a little bit lower, but that could have had to do with me because remember, I brought in a lot of times pitchers whom I knew, and maybe those pitchers were the better pitchers, and maybe that had an effect. So there's a lot of little things, but otherwise, all the stats are very, very, very close. And I can give you some examples just to show you. Let me give you some quick examples. Let me go back. Let me get out of here. Oh, actually, I could have done it there. Yeah. No. Yeah. Let me go here. New York Mets. I'm using an iScore. It's a free app. You go to Team Stats. It gives you all the stats. Let me go up and down the Mets lineup, for example, real quick. Doug Flynn. Doug Flynn is one who batted. He batted 240, and in this game he's batting 200. Trevino batted 260, and in this game he's batting. Where's Trevino? Trevino's batting 260. Ron Hodges. These are guys that don't play very much. Ron Hodges batted 180, and in our game here, Hodges is batting 214. Frank Taveras. Taveras in reality batted 260, and in our game, Taveras is batting 248. John Stearns batted basically 245, and in our game, Stearns is batting 245. Lee Mazzilli batted 303, and in our game, he's batting 330. Richie Hebner batted basically 245, and in our game, he's batting 236. Joel Youngblood batted 270, and in our game, Youngblood is batting 240. Ed Kranepool batted 215, and in our game, he's batting 220. Bruce Beauclair batted 180. In our game, he's batting 130. And that's it. So everybody's almost identical. So it's pretty good. I mean, I highly recommend Payoff Pitch. Take care, guys.